I'm good, whenever you're ready.
Hello, my name is Ron Gavila, and today we will be discussing the exciting topic of prostitution. Our policy today is, our proposal is legalizing prostitution through brothels. We plan on legalizing, we should legalize it. Prostitutes also must be 18 years or older to work at the brothels. They must comply with all brothel rules, including mandatory STD/STI testing. And then the business itself is going to be regulated with other SOBs or sexually oriented businesses, so you have to get that license in order to start up a brothel. Okay, so let's start. First, we're going to establish some significance. First we're going to go through the three claims. My three claims are the current issues is detrimental towards people in the profession. Current systems does not offer protections for prostitutes. And legalizing prostitution will create a lot of revenue that the country needs. And then I'm going to use prostitute as well as my advocate, as well as sex workers interchangeably. I'm going to start on with our significance claim, which is the current issue is detrimental towards people in the profession. First, we're going to go into human trafficking. First, we're going to establish that there are a lot of prostitutes. According to Luz Gubin, executive editor of the Business Insider, there's an estimated 1 million prostitutes living in the U.S., even though it's legal only in Nevada. So there's a lot of women in this profession, although it's not obviously legal at this point in time. There are several people who do work in this profession. And then you might think like, well, sure, there's 1 million people, but I mean, how often do people pick up prostitutes? I mean, in reality, not that many. You don't hear that many people going, "Oh, I'm going to go pick up a prostitute." In reality, it's actually more common than you think. According to Dr. Tisha Sander, a senior lecturer at the University of Leeds, and the author of Playing for Pleasure: Men Who Buy Sex, nearly 1 in 3 men will buy sex at some point in their life, and they're not just talking about porn. So it's obviously a big issue, especially in regards to also human trafficking. According to the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crimes, sexual exploitation is by far the most commonly identified form of human trafficking, followed by forced labor. So we know there's a lot of them, over 1 million. We know that men pick them up, and we know that a lot of times they are being forced against their will to be in this profession. But that being said, there are women who would like to be in the profession, who like to do it in a legal and safe way, which is what we are proposing. So there's also a very large mortality rate when it comes to prostitution. There's a lot of safety issues. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics National Census of fatal occupation, there's a total of 4,609 fatal injuries on the job in the U.S. in 2010, and that's what they could just find. So in reality, it's a very big issue. This leads on to my second claim, that the current system does not offer protection for prostitutes. So with our claim, we plan on eliminating pimps. The policy will outlaw pimps and sever any ties with any pimps and prostitute relations. Pimp abuse is very prevalent when it comes to that sort of profession. This is just a specific example. According to CBS News, that's her stage name or prostitute name, she had to have sex with 5 to 15 men every day, and she testified this in court. There was one day after Sawyer, which is her pimp, dropped her off. She took off her high heels, sat down on the concrete, and wept. That's when Sawyer appeared from the alley, and he said very derogatory things to her. He snapped at her, he grabbed her discarded heel and beat her in the head until she started bleeding. And although this is just one example, it just goes to show that this is a very big issue. There's also psychological abuse with Johns. Johns or clients can take advantage of girls that are out on the streets. And unfortunately, they can't call the police because what they are doing is technically illegal. and they are seen not as important as other crimes. This is also another specific example from the New York Times. Mari Gilbert said the police failed to protect her daughter, one of the deceased prostitutes in this case of a rampage of 3 murdered prostitutes. Along with the press and the public, they did not take her disappearance seriously until she became part of Long Island's latest serial case. I think they look like they're throwaways, like they don't care. Prostitutes have long been invisible, vulnerably preyed for the wicked and deprived. If you notice that when they are alive, you still notice when they're missing or found dead. And also, a big issue is prostitutes being underage. We have to make sure that they're over 18, and our policy does say that they have to be over 18. With this will reduce child trafficking overall, and on top of that, jams will have a legal way to get sex without having to go to these underage women that are forced into the profession, and go to the people that do want to do the professions legally through brothels. This leads me to our final point. Legalizing prostitution will create revenue. There's one thing that is true, which is sex sells. According to Rebecca Loon, senior correspondent at CBS News, it is estimated that Americans now spend somewhere around $10 billion a year on adult entertainment, which is as much as they spend attending professional sporting events, buying music, or going out to the movies. Consumers' demand is so strong that it has seduced some of America's biggest brand names and companies like General Motors, Marriott, and Time Warner, now making millions selling erotica to America. So they own businesses that sell erotica. So in our policy, we're going to tax 20% of the revenue. Half will go towards sex addiction and half will go back to the community. According to the Huffington Post, this is studies in Canada, where it's legal now, it's estimated the government could generate between 87 million and 170 million revenue through 10% excess tax. So that's just a tax in Canada for 10%. So now think about 20%. It's definitely going to create revenue. And to wrap it up, prostitutes are simply providing a service just because we generally don't agree with the service. I hope I show you to be on the right side of the mindset and join countries like Australia, New Zealand, and the Netherlands, as well as Canada, and legalize brothels. Thank you.